tell me who you are?
I'm Marian Dora, and I'm doing here an interview with the filmmaker Magnus Blomdahl. I don't know what he wants to ask me, but I think it's about Ageless Melancholia. You ask what I had in mind, and this is very hard for me to describe. I wanted to put all my love and all my hate and all my fear and all my thoughts about life and human being and existence and about death into that film. I saw this when I was 3 years old, and it was for me so mysterious, such a secret. That skull with the candles, and here that leaves and the wood. Where is it? What is it? Why is it? Urine and other liquids. Das ist Melancholie der Engel. This is the book for the dubbing. You see, for the dubbing, yeah. This is a professional book because it looks a professional company, but my script is not professional. CGI.
Yeah.
If you want to film it for real, and you have no money and no time, then it's never possible to reach 100%. Of course, you can't reach 100% of that what you have in mind. It's impossible. And it is impossible to reach 90 or 80 or 70%. It is impossible. The maximum is to reach 40% of that what you have in mind. And I was in such a hurry that I had to accept when I say, okay, I reached 10%. This is the absolute limit.
But do you feel as time passes that the movie is, do you think that it's getting better and better, the movie, as many years passes, and or do you get
watched it.
Do you get more and more frustrated as time passes?
No,
when you think back about
no, of course not. Now I accept it as it is, but I was very frustrated after finishing. I said I never shoot again anything, because this was the worst I have ever experienced in my life.
So now we go closer and closer to the center of evil.
What can you tell me about the shooting of Melancholie der Engel, your experience of it?
It was a 3 weeks shooting. For me it's a very long shooting, and it was a horrible time for me. I never want to have such a time in my life once again. It was really a disaster, not only in technical terms, but in emotional terms too. The things that happened had been very unpleasant, and at a certain point I realized that I lost control about what the things that had been going on. This is the Carsten Frank box, and they meet at that place. The light is now much better than in the film.
Yeah.
And they shot from here. The people, the two guys standing here, and you see the two churches in the background.
Yeah.
That's the way Carsten Frank came, and he put this thing around his neck during walking this way.
Es ist bereits viele Jahre her, und doch denke ich noch immer zurück an jene Tage, die gleichzeitig Beginn und Ende meines Seins bedeuteten.
Do you know who's put the cross there?
No, I don't know. Always when there is a murder or something, they put some cross there. And you see the nun falling on her knees here, and then Carsten Frank came and yeah.
there was a riff. And I wanted to do a riff again, but the place was too public.
So you never shot anything here? No?
No.
Is that because I like this location? When I looked for locations before I started the film, I was here, and maybe 15, 16-year-old girl was sitting here and doing a shit, but it wasn't possible to integrate it in the film because I had no camera.
Do you park here somewhere?
To park here, it's forbidden, but of course we do it.
And you shot scenes for Angel's Melancholy
Yeah.
up here as well?
Yeah, where Melanie, the long-haired, every girl there had long hair. But the main actress is walking to the farmhouse where the pig is slaughtered.
While choosing locations for the Angel's Melancholy, did you choose these locations with a purpose?
Yes, because you see there, you see this mountain.
Yeah.
And you see when you go to the left, you see a small town, and at the top of the hill you see a ruin. And this is the place where the original case took place, because Angel's Melancholia was not a fantasy, because but it was a case that happened years before. But in difference to the cannibal case, when we made the film, we had no ideas of the details what happened. So it was more or less...
It's loosely based on something, yeah.
Yes.
And but it was a very strange case. And many of such strange things happened here.
Can you tell me about the case? What was it?
Where it was?
Yeah, what kind of case was it?
They found it was an old house. It was like in the film, an old house.
Yeah.
Where some people come together, and 3 or 4 people disappeared, and they never knew what happened, because the people who not disappeared told nothing what happened. And in the house and outside of the house they found remains of bodies, but older remains, and the remains of a small child.
Okay, so something had happened there before.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they assumed that the 2 or 3 people who survived had been in that house maybe years before. And years before, terrible things happened years before shooting Angel's Melancholia. I tried to stay here during a night in the summer, and I got paranoia in that night. And the woods in the night, the people says that there are still wolves inside, and this is why Heinrich is a wolf. he arrives at the second night at the house, and at the first night they standing outside and they hear the wolf.
Yeah.
And in the house, and the third night, they hear, the Bianca hears a sound from the attic, and Carsten Frank is looking in the attic, and there's the rabbit there.
Yeah.
Heinrich killed, and it was always a werewolf. But the werewolf aspect is a little bit lost now because of the heavy cuts I had to make. These two rocks are called the stone virgins, because two virgins had been violated, raped and killed at that place in the past, and the people says they get stones. They became stones. You can murder a 10 years old child, a girl for example, and no one comes to you and says, oh, you shouldn't murder that girl. This is very good.
Because this is the take I used.
Looking for my hand. When a nostril picker, you can do from the nostril. Come here, come. There had been some dead mouses or rats, and when the nun is looking at her leg because she is injured, the Carsten Frank is waiting here and he burns the rat. And he dances towards this hill, and I made a long shot so the distance was shorter for the picture. Make a long shot, then you have it. So zoom to it. Make maximum zoom. Yeah. A little bit back, perhaps a little bit back, and then
Like that?
And when I walk now there, then it's a little bit like this.
Als sei nichts als ich. Ich. Ich sei das ewig Verdammte.
It was a rabbit she bought, and she went to holiday, and she asked me to take the rabbit for 1 week.
So was it over here? You buried it somewhere?
Yeah, in this we'll go there.
Yeah.
And after the first day I had the rabbit, it died. And I gave her a call. Okay, your rabbit is dead now. Oh, she said, this is bad luck. And I said to her, but it's not without. Maybe we can use it. So the death has a sense.
Yeah, yeah.
And she said, okay, but how do you want to use it for what do you want to use it? And I said to her, we'll cut his head and the stomach, and we'll put out the intestines and we'll film it. And she said, that sounds strange, but go ahead. It was here in this part. I know it's because of the light. Somewhere here or here.
It must be hard to find. It could be anywhere.
I think it must here where you're standing now. When I have the shot in my mind.
Come inside.
This is saltpeter. You can make black pulver
Yeah.
for the firing bombs. In that forest, we shot some scenes, but I don't know exactly where.
The chaos in Angel's Melancholy. The
what?
the chaos. The way it turned out to be.
Yeah.
Was that for you, was it planned for you to be such a in a way such a hysterical movie?
Yeah.
Or was it something in you that triggered this anger on set, or was it what you wanted?
I had in mind before that it could happen like this, but the way it lost control, the amount of losing control, I had not in mind. Because, as I told you, there was a certain point when I felt that I completely lost control about what's happening.
But in a way now afterwards, are you kind of are you satisfied with that things turned out as bad as they did turn out, including with your physical health and stuff like that?
It's
when you see the finished film.
the problem is that the many scenes are not inside the film. This is a problem.
Yeah.
So the things that happened there, nobody in the world is able to see now.
Okay, do you feel that the shooting of Melancholy der Engel has made you a maybe not a better person, but another person than before?
This is a good question. I asked me this question myself. And indeed, I think the making of the film changed my person a little bit for some reasons, hard to describe, but I learned in these 3 weeks a lot about myself, about the way I react in extreme situations, about the way I feel, I think, about my limits, or about the fact that I maybe don't have the limits I should have.
Why did Frank wanted to remove certain scenes of Heinous Melancholy? Was he not happy with them, or was he worried that people would think something about them, or?
He was afraid because of the legal consequences.
Okay.
And we shot a scene with a corpse in the morgue, not so far away from here. And it was the central scene for the flashback scenes. So it was the beginning and the end of the flashback scenes and many cuts between. So it was an important scene where he abuses an old male corpse. And we got it because it was a little bit blackmailing of the guy who was responsible for that morgue. He was an alcohol drinker,
Yeah.
and he did many illegal stuff and many illegal things, and so we had the possibility to blackmail him a little bit, so it was possible to do it. But this scene, for example, it was one of the scenes I had to cut out because he said, okay, we do illegal stuff and we show that illegal stuff, so they will get my ass.
Do you think that you will ever make a movie as powerful, as painful to make as Melancholie der Engel?
I hope it will be possible for me to make a film as powerful as Melancholia, as Angelus Melancholia, but not as painful. I never want to have such a time in my life anymore. Again, I wouldn't be able to survive it. Maybe that sounds a little bit pathetic, but during that 3 weeks, it was a pure horror to come to the set, to the house where we shot the film, and every day, maybe not the first week, but after the first week, every day I hoped for the words of the producer, okay, let's stop the project. Every day when I woke up after an hour sleep or half an hour sleep, it came in my mind, oh my God, now I have to go there and have to continue the shooting. And I only prayed that the producers will say, okay, Marian, it's finished, it's all over now, let's stop that madness. But that never happened.
Because it's the Angelus Melancholy, and you see in the film tears on the cheek of that, and here was Sansarachi and took one of the tear of the eyes.
You spent 2 weeks in the house, only in the house.
3 weeks, and this was our base,
Yeah.
and our center, and but we didn't shoot every day of the three weeks in the house. Sometimes we started in the morning from the house and drove here and shoot our things here. You see some bones here, but the skeleton, you remember where Carsten Frank is going to the skeleton, this is the skeleton here. And here is the secret, because I show it in Angel's Melancholia. This is a skeleton of a dwarf or something. It's only so small, but it's not a child because of the proportions. And nobody knows what kind of creature there is. And there are some scientists who says this is not from this world, that creature. This is from somewhere else. People since generations tell that in special evenings when there's mist and there's a small creature, called Männlein, a dwarf or something, going around, and who sees the dwarf will die, or someone in the family will die or something. And Carsten Frank had a scene during the walk in Angel's Melancholia when he comes to the Melanie and I'm the Goldberg Männlein and this we heard there, and maybe there's, I always fantasized if there's a connection of this legend to this creature in that church, so that remains of that creature in that church. And here is about the Goldberg Männlein, about this. And this is the place where So maybe if you want, put it here. Yeah. Then make a shot, a Marion Dora shot. When you go there, come on now. We'll focus here, and then go to this, that we can read this here.
Yeah.
Goldberg Männlein. Take care for the Goldberg Männlein that's walking here at this mountain.
What's that?
This is the view. I have the feeling that the persons in the film have to know more than the viewer. You can't, as a viewer, you can't expect then you know everything. Why? How can you expect this? The people in the film know much more. They know about their life, about the past, about the backgrounds, the persons you see in the film. So you can't have the approach to understand everything when you watch only 2 hours of their life. It's not possible. And when someone asked me, and for what type of people? And I gave the answer, for that type of people that can benefit from, I don't know who it is, but I hope there is someone that watched the film and benefits from it.
I think that it's one of those films that, for me, as an audience, it feels like you made the movie to me.
Yes.
And I think all of the people who loves the movie feels the same way.
Yeah. And this here is the very last take of Debris Documenta, when Carsten Frank is jogging into nowhere. It was this way here. He jogs until I can't see him.
Is he a good jogger?
No,
It doesn't look that good when he jogs.
No, it is a disaster.
Do you feel that the movie? Do you think it should give? Do you think it's able to give people comfort, or?
This is an interesting question, because when I always thought it might be dangerous when you are in a not so comfortable situation of your life and you watch the film. Maybe you will have more problems. But when I was invited at the festival, in the Dutch festival,
Yeah.
the Bad Film Festival, there was a guy asked me for autograph a DVD,
Yeah.
and it was maybe middle of the 40s, and he asked me if he can tell me a few things, and if I have a few minutes time for him, and he thanked me. He said thank you very much, and what you did for me. And I asked him, oh, what have I done for you? And he told me, a few months ago my mother died, and I wanted to
You kill myself.
oh, whatever.
Yeah.
And I started to watch Angel's Melancholy one time after another, and that gives me back a face into life.
I think it's kind of like, maybe kind of like listening to really depressive music, like black metal music, and if you feel misunderstood, if you feel like you have problems, in some ways it feels like this is someone who can understand me and what I'm going through. So
Yeah, I thought about what he told me, and I thought maybe it's the ending of the film when the Patricia is burying Carsten Frank, and then you hear the words of Carsten Frank from the off. Carsten Frank is an angel, that no one dies forever, something remains in the world, in the universe. This is what the film is about, and maybe these words gave that guy a help in his situation. But you mentioned music.
yeah,
This is maybe interesting that I never in my life listened to music, never. Because I always felt that music is not complete. It only makes sense in combination with pictures.
yeah.
Music is only a part of a film. So it never made sense for me to listen to music.
If you would have to describe this film for an audience that haven't seen it yet, what would you say then?
It would be easy to describe the story, but the story is only a vehicle for that what I had in mind behind that story. And if I should describe it, I would describe it as a film about life and desire, and about the human melancholia that I felt very much at that time of my life.
This is from here, here, here. This is a triangle.
And the houses.
And the house is exactly in the middle.
Yeah.
Is here. And in the rooms there, many strange things happen. Ja, Frank hat das hier. Das weiß ich natürlich nicht. Carsten Frank, ja. Das war.
Can you show me where you stood? Did you stand on?
Yeah.
You took the shot, and the bench just tipped backwards.
Yeah. Not broke, but tipped back.
And you stood filming at this direction, or?
No, this to
Towards the
I
church.
stood
Okay.
here. No, I stood here.
Yeah.
On that bench, and you see it.
It's not good to stand up.
Yeah. And I filmed there. And now everyone has a camera. Much better than the camera I used for the film. Jan Herzog always says now there are 3 billion cameras in the world. 3 billion people with cameras. And I accept absolutely no excuse why to make not a film.
But sometimes it's good to have an excuse as well, because otherwise you get 3 million moves that sucks.
Maybe not. I don't know.
I think, well, it's
I'm afraid you're right. I was here. You can see here the church.
yeah.
And they walk there and walk there. The Nun and Kastenfrank back. From this to this, you see it completely in the film. But the light was different.
Is the White House now?
This one. This is the house.
It is.
This is the house.
Where everything happened. The heart of darkness. So
The heart of
let's
darkness.
all together pray to Satan. And you remember maybe the scene where Peter Martel is torturing the wheelchair lady.
Yeah.
And I filmed it under that tree. So he tortured it here in the middle, beside the street.
Yeah.
And Peter was, and I filmed it under that tree. But here, use the last light you have.
Yeah.
Because this is the scene you like. In
At
front
the
of
back
the
side.
house.
Yeah.
It was here,
Great,
it
great.
wasn't this house, it was across the street. I put some stuff from
Yeah.
the house here, some stuff you see in my house now. I showed you. And they are sitting here. We had here the table, and they had been sitting here. Because this is now grown in the last 10 years. So there was nothing here. There was nothing here. Now I show you the place with the fire.
Yeah.
With fire where we burn
The Martel.
Martel. And we shot in every room.
So the white building was.
white building?
Yeah.
But this too. But for Enters Melancholia, we shot only one.
In the White House. Yeah. This is the last minutes before the sun completely disappears.
Yes. And now you can have a shot here with the sun.
Yeah. So that was the name, the sign.
Schweizer Hof.
So it's kind of like a.
Swiss place.
shot fire, the burning. We asked at that house if it's possible to shoot here.
Yeah.
And here, in front of that wall, was the sodomy scene of
Yeah,
the
yeah,
goat
yeah.
and the ugly lady.
That you were that you didn't have to cut away, or?
Yes, you
Yeah.
only see the goat.
Yeah.
And the problem was, it was a scene with many perverse details.
Yeah, yeah.
With pissing and
Yeah, there's a lot of
shitting
there's a
and-
lot of people,
Yeah,
a lot of houses
and
around it.
When we asked there, can we make here a fire and
Yeah.
shoot something for a film in the evening?
Yeah.
Of course, the whole village knew it. And then the 30 people who are living here
Yeah.
all stand here.
And watched.
All stand here and watch.
The white sandy beaches are calling me home as I try to remember their names. Is it time and forgetfulness? How should I know? But the
So do you feel strange arriving here?
Yes, I'm a little bit nervous what awaits me inside because so many blood and tears are inside.
Do you think can we go inside? Do you think so?
Oh, I'm sure. This was full of remains of human and animal remains. And it was so horribly stinky, we stuffed it with the thing. And it was so smelly that the actresses didn't want to go inside. They said, no, it's impossible. Don't go inside.
Yeah.
So we put in 1,000 of so, was heißt Räucherstäbchen? Incense sticks. Incense sticks. And put it on. And the positive effect was that it was very foggy inside. And it smells so they could accept it a few minutes.
Yeah.
And they said, we go in 5 minutes, not longer, and had to make the shot in 5 minutes.
Were you ever afraid of the events that took place, or even of your own capacities as a director, as a human being?
I reached the limits of maybe not the limits of a filmmaker, of a director. I reached it in technical terms because the circumstances had been so poor. But first line, I reached the limits of being a human being in some at a certain point. Yes.
The stairs? Yeah.
These are the stairs. Yeah. I had that big watch with the skull of the head inside. I placed here.
Rechts hoch, bitte.
Oh my God, this was my room here. This was especially my room, where I was inside and nobody had to enter this room. This is the center, the room where every orgy happened. Here everything happens. We had this oven and we fired it, but it was all the smoke came here. Yeah. And you see this girl here standing in Kassenfang. This thing is new. This wasn't here.
Okay.
This wasn't here. And here was everything broken, but now it's not broken. The wall was broken, and I showed it to illustrate the morbidity. And but now it's not broken anymore. Someone.
Was will you trinken? Gutes Hefe?
It looks so much smaller.
This floor was covered with blood, tears, shit, and urine. In this room, we removed everything, and I painted this room completely black. But now it's painted.
They repainted it, yeah.
I painted it completely black because I wanted it French vernacular completely black. Because in Carnival there was here the castration scene. Also da
in that corner?
In that corner we had the castration scene. Here was the thing where he was lying.
Yeah.
And here exactly here was the castration scene. This was the room where I had the requisites. This was full with requisites now, they made cheese in the past here. And now we go. The lady said a room where there's different energy, and it's a shamanic room now, where she did shamanic treatment of people. And it is the room where the slaughtering was in Carnival. And
Das war früher der Kuhstall.
in Carnival you see Carsten Frank pushing the...
This way, yeah, okay,
way,
yeah.
And now this is a
Wenn die Energie kommt,
energy room here.
wenn man eine geistige Verbindung macht,
If you have a connection from your mind to spiritual connection.
so hebt man den Energiepegel im Raum und verschließt ihn. Ja, eigentlich wird er von der geistigen Welt dann abgeschlossen und dann arbeite ich hier drin auf Energiearbeit. Manchmal sieht man Energie irgendwo fließen, wo sie im Raum drin ist. Und jetzt malt man mal kurz meine Hände.
Ganz warm, aber man ja auch. Das ist die Energie.
Wie heißt du?
Marian,
Nur
Dora,
geboren? Und dadurch wird die geistige Verbindung hergestellt von dir und von mir und der geistigen Welt in dem Moment.
ich wusste immer, dass hier eine besondere Energie ist.
Ja,
Ich wusste es immer.
dieses Haus hat allgemeine besondere Energie.
Ja,
Die ist schon so alt und so viel war da, ja, Hände in dem ganz Hände.
Viele Dinge sind hier passiert. Many things happened here in this house. And there's a special energy here in this house.
Ja, das Einzige, was ich später...
Ob dieser Mensch nun lebt oder tot ist, nichts ändert sich im Weltall. Und nichts geht verloren.
Do you often dream about having this first version ready for a release, or is it something that you have let go by now?
Sometimes it comes in my mind during midnight, but it's not a dream, it's more a nightmare.
You asked me about my motivation to do Angels Melancholia. I have to admit that there also had been another motivation to do the film. I always had been obsessed with Charles Manson and Carsten Frank too, and we had been also obsessed with Andreas Baader of RAF. We always had been the opinion that Andreas Baader was a little bit a kind of a German Charles Manson. Both people had been able to manipulate the people to do things they maybe would have never done without Charles Manson or Andreas Baader. And it was absolutely clear that I had to manipulate the people, otherwise they would have never done what was necessary for that film. I didn't know what I had to expect from the people who played parts in that film. Senzarachi I met only a few minutes before, and the girl who played Melanie too. And Bianca, for example, that little girl I'd never seen before the beginning of shooting. And during the shooting I used every trick to manipulate the people. I didn't show them the script, for example, and the shooting wasn't chronologically, but I tried to go much further. If I would have known that I would unleash such demons, it would have been better if I had never done that film.